Yo, check it, got that new fire straight from the underground. What you need? This that real hip hop.
All right, man. We're tuning in to Valuetainment today. It's a guy named Patrick Bet David. He's some will say he's controversial. I say he's thought provoking. But he's interviewing one of the most controversial people to come out into our screens in the past 5 to 10 years. Charleston White. Now, a lot of people don't agree with what he has to say, which is crazy. Because if you actually listen, he is saying something extremely profound. It goes over the head of most, but not this one. So I do choose to tune in, especially when he starts speaking about things that I know of and or can relate to. Exactly this topic, hip hop for Black American culture, and how it's definitely a part of the problem. But let's check it out, man.
At 14 years old, I read that you were hung out with some people who there was attempt on murder, convicted. What happened?
No, no. So my uncle had just died, who was a positive influence in our life. He died to gun violence. My mother had just became pregnant, and my little sister was born. My brother was already in and out of the juvenile facilities, and my mother was putting my brother in adolescence home. So my mama wasn't waiting for him to be arrested. When she started seeing behavior problems, she would put him in adolescent home. That made him even more rebellious. And he big, he tall and big. He got
Adolescent homes, for people who might not know, is almost like boarding school for boys. Like, if you see something going wrong, you just try to get them somewhere where they can get help that you know you probably can't provide on your own. That's it.
a grown man body. So mama gotta work. And we got the best life most kids could have in the middle class neighborhood. So I'm the little brother sitting back watching who everybody's overlooking because of my injuries. They don't know I'm a mother. They don't know I'm a dynamite. Only my uncles know who let me hang out with them. So man, once I got to become a kid, I was 13 years old. I've been in the hospital, man, from 5 to 13. So once I started playing with kids, I was a natural leader. Uh, uh, and I attracted good and bad children. My real friends didn't get in trouble. The ones I went to hang with didn't live in our neighborhood. They lived in the projects, in apartments. So, man, when I got introduced to what I call, I'm the seed of America's gangster rap culture. A little kid who been watching Bill Cosby, Red Fox, Fred Sanford. When my uncles get out of prison, I watched all the black exploitation films. From Dolomite, Superfly, all penitentiary. So I learned criminal activity from watching these movies, watching my uncles. And once I finally got to go out into the community, imagery have already been propagated to me. Kid watching television, kid watching so man, so I'm mimicking what I'm seeing. So I've never seen a man come out of my mother's bedroom. I've also never seen a man get up and go to work.
You've never seen a man come out of your mama's bedroom. You've never seen a man go
to work. Yeah, I didn't know men work. I thought men were like my Uncle Curtis and my Uncle Wayne. They pimp on a woman, or they lay around all day, or earn their clothes in the middle of the day, wake up late with a joint in their mouth, fly clean, and go nowhere.
Okay. Knowing exactly what he's talking about is what makes this difficult, because yes, you base what you know off of the things you see. Now, what he's saying is most of his stuff has come from the television, same, but I also was around those type of people. See, in that community, everyone has the good and the bad, right? Some people think they're better than others, but there's all a level of we can all be doing better. But what you see is that the quote unquote good ones hang out with the bad ones. They don't correct them. They don't tell them what they're doing is wrong. They barely even acknowledge what they're doing as wrong. They're still there. So you get this convoluted vision of it, because what? How do you know that they steal, rob, or they sell drugs in large quantities, or they gangbang? How do you know that they do these things, but yet you don't say anything to them about it? You don't tell them that what they're doing is wrong, because on your side, you go to work, you go to church, you do everything you need to, you pay your tithes, take care of your kids, you do all these things, but yet you don't say anything to them about what they're doing because you live in the same community. Watching, I had no real examples of good men. Now, as far as seeing men come out of the room, boy, what? Listen, listen. I know for a fact that what a woman can't find in one man, she'll find in another. And if she can't find it in another man, she'll try to find it in a woman. But she gonna keep looking for something until she finds what she needs from anybody. That's not a good example, but that's what I saw. And I try my hardest to this day to not live by that. Knowing that's what I seen and what I was doing for a while, pimping and man, listen, you watch people do things and you say, "Hey, that's cool. I want to try that." And then you go and try it. And if it works, you're like, "Oh, I see why they do this. Cuz it works. I'm going to do it too. And I'm going to be cool and people going to respect me and man, let's get back to it.
You know, the unproductive blackmail of the 80s. So that's what I saw. So I watched all the males in my family go to prison. For my mom's cousins, my uncles, grandmother's brothers, and I never heard anybody say anything bad about prison. So
Yep.
think about this. I never hear
They
anybody say anything
glorify
bad
it.
about prison. They come home and make it sound bravado, like you're missing out on something. As if the right to passage. Not only that, you're seeing it on television, so it's being reinforced either way. So we had a whole black exploitation era. So by the time, so I'm an injured kid who get to watch all the television in the world in the hospital at home. We had a VC, yeah. So by the time I get to be a normal kid that can go outside and play, it's a new culture, gang culture, and it's trending. Uh, I remember
I
we
grew
seen
up in
colors
gang
our first
culture.
summer. We went and got bandanas and put them in our pocket. I went and got me a pocket knife. I don't know nothing about this, but what I saw on television.
Boy, what? I had a butterfly knife when I was like 10 years old. I had a few of them. I had knives. Like, I had the things you weren't supposed to have as a kid. I did. And with everything going on in the house and all of that, you definitely start to do the things you see everybody else doing. Gang culture, third generation. More like second, third generation. Gang culture. So the people who started it, the people who put it into place, and then the aggressive era. That's where I come in. The aggressive era of gang. It's what they do now is different from what I was going through, because we still at that time we still had codes and we still had a culture within the gang culture. There was structure to things. It was different. It's not like that anymore. They've gotten rid of that and now it's just blue or red or yellow or purple or green or pink. I don't know what they doing anymore. Now they're still gang banging, but the structure that was within that whole culture is dead. They say it's not, but you used to have a book of knowledge, an actual book of knowledge, and you would be tested. And if you failed that test, the consequence was always violence. But if you failed, you got beat up. But the more you know, the less likely you are to get beat up. Study. That's like it's so, to people who don't know or ever seen it that way or understand it that way, it sounds crazy, but that's what it was like, at least in the early 90s, going into the early 2000s. The entire 90s was like that. The entire 90s was like that. Going into the early 2000s, that's what it was like. It's not like that anymore. Well, as far as I know, I'm far removed.
I didn't know how to have sex from listening to rap music and this is in the 5th and 6th grade. There was a song by Two Live Crew called "Hey, We Want Some." Yeah, so imagine stopping it, rewinding it, stopping it, so you can get every lyric. So our culture taught us, and I say
Not
this
they pulled
often,
it up.
and people really overlook it. It's a rape culture.
Rape culture.
Yeah, hip hop is a rape culture.
Tell me about it.
I put a Molly in her drink, and she ain't even know it.
Mm.
That's that Rick
Me
Ross
and
line.
my homies like to play this game. Some call it Amtrak, but some call it the train. We all would line up in a single file line and take our turns waxing girls' behinds. Every time it get to me, I was out of luck because I stick my end and it would get stuck. The girl will say stop, I say I'm not. The girl will say stop, I say I'm not. But we dance to it. There's another song. I take her back to the trap. I gave her a perk, and she ain't even know it. Then she dropped the panties. So when we watch the frat parties, what was that? Porky's Revenge? Hey, let's spike the punch. The girls don't know to spike the punch. When we see a bunch of girls, hey, baby, let me get you a drink. Come over, let's have some drink. Drink to do what? And have sex. That's
Loads it up.
coercion. You can't. She has to have a sober mind. So that's our culture.
How did it happen?
Hollywood entertainment. They
Because it didn't used to be
romanticize
like
it.
that.
Now they romanticize it.
When you see
Yeah.
the videos of back in the days, African American families, suits, the way they dressed, clean, solid, strong. What got into that? You're saying purely it's hip hop and movies?
A group of teenagers that became a phenomenon like the Beatles, NWA.
See, okay. I think what Patrick was saying about the people being clean and dressed nicely, he's talking about like the 30s and the 40s and the 20s, like before the 60s. That's what he's referencing. See, that's when you can pull up pictures of young black boys in full suits. There's a picture of a group of black boys. I think it's like called First Sunday or Sunday something. They're a group of black boys. I think the picture is in Harlem, and they're on their way to church or they're just coming from church. And each one of them, I'm talking about dapper. That's what dapper. So these kids were dressed up in dapper attire, and that was the cultural norm for black families. Even if they didn't have much, you knew you had to dress a certain way and be and behave a certain way. But as time progressed, that type of thinking was swapped out with other things. So dressing dapper and looking good, it went into something deep because you can you can talk about how the dope boys and the dudes that were doing the illegal activities, how they used to dress sharp and dapper, how that trickled its way into the church. See, the pastor started copying those people to catch the eye of the people. So, like it's deep, it's real deep, but you gotta be prepared for those type of conversations.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not only that, you got this group that know things about crack that the rest of America don't know. They the first crack babies. They the ones told us in songs, mothers smoke crack and your friends can have sex with them. Boys in the hood is always hard. We didn't know about a strawberry. What is a strawberry? A woman who sell her body for crack. You know how many of our aunties that end up doing that? You know how many guys that was in middle school that sold dope and his best friend mom was on dope and he ended up effing his best friend mom? And now they hate each other to this day. So it wasn't just hip hop. It was the lyrical content that children was being able to have access to. This is before the parental advisory stickers.
Mhm.
Not only that, you got this music, which if you wanna check the temperature of your youth's mentality, listen to the music.
Yep, that's 100%
So
facts.
now you
100%
got this
facts.
new chemical that was made in a laboratory. Black people didn't know how to cook crack. That's a chemist method. Somebody had to teach them. By the way, government taught somebody how to do this. When we watched the movie Snowfall. So when they came out of California to come spread crack throughout America, who they bring? The gangs. Throughout the South, these little small country towns, who people are fascinated by California from what we've seen on television. And we emulated a culture that was more destructive than the Ku Klux Klan and the Jim Crow system.
Wow. And you're saying it was intentional.
Uh, Nobody thought it would become this. It was dismissed. There's a bunch of kids from the ghetto rapping. It was dismissed. Say, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Charleston White, aka America's favorite uncle.
Yeah, that this whole segment, I am a product of hip hop culture. I'm a product of gang culture. I'm a product of Black American culture. But a byproduct. See, you know how you have runoff from a facility? Like you have what they're looking for, what they're concentrating to get, and then the things that they don't want, that's the runoff. That's the stuff that the waste that they throw to the side. I'm the waste because I didn't grab onto it and latch onto it the same way that everyone else did. I saw it, I was in it, I became a part of it, and then I opened my eyes. See, when people talk about woke, that's what that originally meant. Is when you open your eyes and see what's really happening. And so the way in which I looked at things and how we would talk about things, and I moved away from a lot of the things that I saw that weren't helping me and people that look like me. It has nothing to do with me blaming anybody else. I can't blame anyone else because I'm the one doing it. We're the ones doing it. Now, if someone put 6 cookies on the floor and they know you love cookies, they know you love cookies. They know for a fact you're gonna go get these cookies. And they put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cookies on the floor. And on the 7th cookie, it's a trap. The 7th cookie is a trap, but you don't really see the trap. The 7th cookie is off in the woods a little bit. It's probably like in a like dark area, but you see the cookie and you know these previous 6 cookies, they were good. I got these easily. There's about a 95, 98% chance I'm gonna go and try to get that last cookie. It's that same thought process. See, but if you get to the 5th cookie, you pick up that 6th cookie, and then you're looking and you say, well, why is that one all the way over there like that? Why does it look like that? Why is it not like these? When you start asking those type of questions, you're more likely to say, you know what? I had enough. These cookies were good. They tasted real yummy, but I'm okay. I don't need that last one. See, that was me. Not everybody made it. Most people went for that 7th one and they got stuck in the trap. That's why it's called the trap. Like it's this is one of those topics that we can really dive deep on, and I would love to. I'm gonna have to write some things down and do a little bit more research because it's not that I don't know about these things, but to bring it to light and talk about it, I want to make sure I'm right, and I want to have examples that are able to be understood by other parties. See, I'm like that. I want you to understand what it is I'm saying. I want to be able to get this information across to you, and you say, you know what, you may have a point, or this is where I disagree with you. I believe in that type of conversation. I don't say big words just to trip you up and be like, oh man, he's saying real big words. He's a smart guy. I'm a smart guy regardless. But being able to have a conversation with just about anyone is why I'm so good at it. I love what I do. This is amazing. But when you listen to people like Charleston White, people see him and they just they immediately have the worst thoughts. But if you're listening to what he's saying, the boy speaks a lot of truth. But until you're ready to realize that it's it's a lot of things that we can do better on, or you as an individual can do better with, things that he says are always going to upset you. Always. Especially if you're black. Now, I don't know how people who aren't black feel about Charleston White. I really don't. A lot of people love the fact that he calls out black people for their nonsense. A lot of other cultures, from what I've seen, they applaud him for calling other black people out, which I'm all for. I'm all for it. See, but I don't want anyone to feel belittled by being called out, because that's where the rift comes in, and they're automatically not going to listen. Once they start feeling like you're picking on them or calling them small or saying that they're incapable, that's when they tune out and they don't listen. That's not what I want. I want you to hear what I'm saying and think about what I'm saying. And if it works, it works. But if it doesn't, that's okay. But just know there are other options. This was good though. Shout out to Charleston White. Shout out to Patrick, Bet David, and the Valuetainment. This was good, man. I'm definitely gonna tune into the rest of this. He has other segments of this interview, I guess he did with him. So we'll check out more. But let me know how you feel. Peace.
Perfect.